Welcome back. Our celebration of women in the sporting environment continues. Mountaineer Deshun Deysel was part of the history-making expedition to Mount Everest in 1996. That was the first time the South African flag was planted on Everest. Deysel joins us now via Skype from Johannesburg. Deshun, thank you so much for your time. I know at that time in 1996 you didn't actually make it up Everest, but how was it being part of that pioneering team?
Hi, Floni. Thank you so much, and good evening, viewers. You know, I think of the 1996 expedition as something that was absolutely life-changing for me because it really sent my life into a very different trajectory to where I was as a 26-year-old back in 1996. The thing about the 96 expedition is that up until that time, the world had not seen that kind of disaster that we experienced on the mountain that year in that season. So the 96 expedition wasn't just a cathartic moment in my life. It was cathartic for the climbing of Everest itself because it completely shaped, number one, how South Africans viewed the mountain, number two, how the world viewed the mountain, and then the interest that following that disaster ended up there was an explosion of interest in Mount Everest from the 1996 expedition onwards. So it was really quite a jarring but also very profound impact that it made, not just on me personally, but on the world as a whole.
And you have made it up to, I think, about 8,300 meters off Everest. Given your experience in 1996 and getting to 8,300 meters when you did, what is going through your mind at that point, and how are you navigating all of that, especially when you have the history that you have with it?
Yes, you know, Mount Everest, and as with all the big mountains of the world, you'll probably come across these stories often of climbers going back a second, a third, a fourth, sometimes a fifth time to try and get to the summit, because mountains by their very nature are like that. They give you the kind of challenge that make you not always be able to succeed, you know, and if success means getting to the top of the mountain. And so whenever you return back to a mountain, you kind of have a very stark clear memory of the last time you were there. So one approaches with a lot of caution. You approach obviously not with too much trepidation, but those memories do flood back to you. And what they do actually, or what they're supposed to do for one, is just to make you cautious enough to know what to do, but not so cautious that you're almost hamstrung from the experience, not being able to go forward. It really does test your strength of character, your strength, your mental strength, but also your courage to a great degree.
And you've been part of 14 expeditions, I think it is, over 5 continents. Now, mountaineering maybe is not considered a traditional sport the way that we know it, but we are celebrating women in sport as a whole. Why do you do it, and where has it taken you around the world?
Well, you know, for me, climbing has been part of a broader aspect of my life. I'm very curious about things. I want to find out about the world, about how far I can push myself as a person, as a woman. And the mountains really offer quite a unique challenge, you know, because it's not just, I mean, if you're going to road run, you're on the road, you keep going. It's got ups and downs, and it gives you mental and physical fatigue. But in a very short space of time, you actually can be done with a run. But with climbing, it can take weeks. And in the case of Mount Everest and some of the big mountains in the Himalaya, it can take, you know, a good 2 months to try and get to the summit of the mountain. So it really presents you with a unique opportunity to test yourself in such stark, risky, cold, uncomfortable situations. And one of the things I celebrate as a woman is that, you know, there was a time when mountaineering was really just considered the domain of males, and women have to do exactly the same things in the mountains. So it's really so wonderful to test yourself against Mother Nature in the same way that men have been able to test themselves for a much, much longer period of time, and then to get to the point of saying, well, you know what, I can actually also do this, and it is within my reach to accomplish the same goals.
Well, thank you so much for that. We will have to leave it there. Deshan, as you say, talking about other women in mountaineering, we've had Sarah Khumalo in the recent years or months talking about her experiences there, but that is where we are leaving it. Thank you so much for your time. That was mountaineer and adventurer Deshun Deysel.